In the land of Bethlehem, there lived a woman named Naomi. She, along with her husband and 2 sons, had left their hometown due to a severe famine and settled in Moab. While in Moab, tragedy struck. Naomi's husband passed away, leaving her a widow. Her 2 sons then married Moabite women Orpah and Ruth, and they lived in Moab for about 10 years. But another wave of sorrow hit Naomi's life when both of her sons died, leaving her alone with her 2 daughters-in-law. Upon hearing that the famine in Bethlehem had ended, Naomi decided to return to her homeland. She said to her daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness as you have shown kindness to your husbands and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." Then she kissed them goodbye, and they wept aloud. They said to her, "We will go back with you to your people." But Naomi replied, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband, even if I thought there was still hope for me. Even if I had a husband tonight and gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters. It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me." Orpah tearfully bid farewell to Naomi and returned to her people. But Ruth clung to Naomi, refusing to leave her side. "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Moved by Ruth's loyalty and devotion, Naomi and Ruth embarked on the journey back to Bethlehem together. When they arrived, the whole town buzzed with excitement and curiosity. "Can this be Naomi?" the people whispered, surprised by her return. "Don't call me Naomi," she said. "Call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt bitterly with me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty." Naomi and Ruth arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest, a time of new beginnings and hope. In Bethlehem, there was a man named Boaz, a relative of Naomi's late husband. One day, Ruth said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor." Naomi agreed, and Ruth went out to the fields to gather grain behind the harvesters. As it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz. When Boaz arrived, he greeted the harvesters, saying, "The Lord be with you." They answered, "The Lord bless you." Boaz then asked his overseer, "Who does that young woman belong to?" The overseer replied, "She is the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi. She asked if she could gather grain, and she's been working steadily from morning till now, except for a short rest in the shelter." Boaz approached Ruth and said, "My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field. Stay here with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you. Whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled." Ruth bowed down and asked, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner?" Boaz replied, "I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. How you left your father, mother, and homeland to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." At mealtime, Boaz invited Ruth to eat with the harvesters. He offered her bread, roasted grain, and wine vinegar. Ruth ate her fill and even had some leftover. Boaz then instructed his men, "Let her gather among the sheaves, and don't reprimand her." Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up. Ruth gleaned in the field until evening, then threshed the barley she had gathered. She carried it back to town, and Naomi was amazed at how much she had collected. Ruth also shared the leftover food with Naomi. When Naomi asked where Ruth had worked, Ruth told her about Boaz. Naomi said, "The Lord bless him. He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead. That man is our close relative, one of our guardian redeemers." Naomi began to devise a plan to secure a future for Ruth. She instructed Ruth to go to the threshing floor where Boaz would be winnowing barley. Naomi said, "Wash, put on perfume, and wear your best clothes. Then go to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he is lying. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do." Ruth followed Naomi's instructions. When Boaz woke up and saw her, he asked, "Who are you?" Ruth replied, "I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your covering over me, for you are a guardian redeemer of our family." Boaz said, "The Lord bless you, my daughter. This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You have not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor. Now, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character. Although I am a guardian redeemer, there is another who is more closely related than I. Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he is not willing to redeem you, I will." The next day, Boaz went to the town gate and met with the other relative. He gathered 10 elders and explained the situation. The other relative declined to redeem Naomi's land and marry Ruth, so Boaz stepped in. He said to the elders, "You are witnesses today that I've bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite, Mahlon's widow, as my wife to maintain the name of the dead with his property." The elders blessed Boaz and Ruth, saying, "May the Lord make the woman coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the family of Israel. May you have standing in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem through the offspring the Lord gives you by this young woman." Boaz took Ruth as his wife, and the Lord blessed her with a son named Obed. The women of Bethlehem said to Naomi, "Praise be to the Lord, who has not left you without a guardian redeemer. May he become famous throughout Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age, for your daughter-in-law, who loves you and is better to you than 7 sons, has given him birth." Obed became the father of Jesse, the father of David. Thus Ruth's story became intertwined with the lineage of King David, a direct ancestor of Jesus Christ. Her faithfulness, loyalty, and trust in the Lord brought blessings that echoed through generations. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share.